Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another episode of Intuitive Angling, and thank you very much for joining me for today's video. Always very grateful for that. And guys, today I'm going to tell you, sort of pass along the secrets that my buddy Aaron Martens taught me about fishing the scrounger. Aaron was probably the number one angler responsible for bringing this lure to the forefront. And I've had a chance to be in the boat with him quite a few times, and he taught me a bunch about it. And I'm going to share with you guys today in the video. Also, guys, before we get started here, I just wanted to remind everybody, anyone interested in becoming a channel member here of Intuitive Angling, you can do so by going to my homepage, my Intuitive Angling homepage. Click on the join button for information, and channel members get stuff like extra videos that are not seen by the public every week, and some access to my personal email address for your fishing questions. So if you guys would like to be a channel member, that's a good way to support it here. So much appreciated. Okay, guys, a little story about this. You guys are, well aware, about Aaron Martens, arguably one of the greatest bass fishermen in the history of our sport. Passed away a few years ago. Aaron and I were close friends, and I had a chance to spend several extensive periods of time with him fishing the scrounger here. And I learned a tremendous amount about the scrounger fishing with Aaron. And I'm sort of going to go over that today and help you guys, get familiar with this technique, because it's an incredible fish catching tool under the right conditions. Now, the first time that I ever saw how effective a scrounger was, Aaron and I fished. We probably went on 6 different scrounger trips throughout the course, of our friendship over the years. The first time that we ever fished the scrounger, I had a 40-acre lake, and Aaron was up staying with me for a few days between tournaments, and he goes, "Have you ever thrown a scrounger on the lake?" And I said, "No." And he goes, I guarantee you they'll bite it." It was wintertime when we were out there. It was like February. So anyway, we went out there, launched the boat, went out on the lake, and he started out fishing a scrounger, like a 3/8 ounce scrounger with a full-size fluke on it. Didn't do any good. Tried that for 15 or 20 minutes, and he went down and he put a little bit smaller scrounger and he put a different type of trailer on it. Didn't do any good. Then he, tried different colors of trailers. He marked some up. He was convinced they're going to bite him, and he finally kept dropping in size. He changed to smaller profile trailers on the scrounger, and eventually he was using a little 1/8 ounce scrounger like this. He had just a little bitty zoom, tiny fluke on it, and started catching them. And he wound up catching like 15 or 20 on it after he finally figured out the size that they wanted. And then we also, about a month later, we went over to Stockton Lake in Missouri. Again, this was probably March, I guess we were over there. And we just absolutely ripped them on that same little setup, that little tiny scrounger. So I saw right off the bat how effective it was for a finesse presentation. And then we were fishing at Kentucky Lake in a couple tournaments, and he whacked them on a big 3/4 ounce scrounger with like a 6-inch swim bait on it. So the scroungers, guys, they come in a wide range of sizes and profiles. But basically what it is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a jig head with this plastic lip on it here. And this plastic lip makes it vibrate through the water, just like this when it comes through the water. It's almost like a chatterbait. I guess probably that's the best way to explain it. It's like a little chatterbait coming through the water. So you've got the minnow profile creating the action, and then you got the vibration of the head on there, and it just looks like a real minnow in the water. So first of all, I want to explain a little bit about the sizes, and we'll talk about what you want to look here. There's a lot of different sizes that you can throw on a scrounger. My favorite one, and also, guys, I will put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. I'll link all this stuff with the scroungers in my links here. If you guys want to get some, you can use those links and pick you up a few. But anyway, the primary ones that I use, guys, are the light ones, like the little 1/8 ounce. And my favorite is the little Megabass Hasendong Shad on it. It's a little small profile. Also, the Zoom Tiny Fluke I'll use on it. And then if I go up in size, like to the 1/4 ounce or the 3/16, I go to a little bit larger size. This is the Megabass 3-inch Spark Shad. Or you can go to something like a larger fluke. It's really up to your experimentation on the trailers you use. I've caught them on both the paddle tail trailers and just the straight tail trailers. So it's just really whatever you think is going to look good on there, how you set them up. And again, as your head size goes up on the scrounger, your hook size also goes up. And then you can run a larger swim bait on it. You can see the size difference there between the 1/8 and the 1/4. Okay, so here's the situation with it. I have fished all the different sizes, with Aaron. Everything from everything from an 1/8 ounce up to 3/4 of an ounce or even an ounce out there. I'm trying to think if I got the big one in here. That's in one of my other boxes there. So I fished all the different sizes that you have here. My favorite one, guys, if you're going to try this and you've never tried it before, is get you some of the little 1/8 ounce or the 3/16 ounce size with the little small swim bait, like the Megabass Hazendong Shad or like the Zoom Tiny Fluke, the little bitty light model right here. Put it on 6-pound test fluorocarbon line. I use it on 6-pound test Seaguar and VizX spinning rod, and basically fish it on 2 different areas in the cooler water months when the water temperature, anytime the water temperature is between like say 40 to 55 degrees, this is going to be a good technique. 2 different areas that you want to fish them on. Number 1 are steep channel banks. So prime example would be you go back into a major creek arm, get on a couple of the channel banks there, throw the scrounger up on the bank there, get off in say 15, 25 foot of water, depending upon what your water clarity is, and just reel that scrounger really slow, let it stay in contact with the bottom and maybe just pump it off the bottom a little bit, just keep it slow cranking. And you want to keep that thing just wiggling slow just across the bottom, just like that. You don't want to really bring it up in the water column. I always like to keep it in contact with the bottom. So when I throw it out there, I'll let it hit the bottom, and I may reel it 3 or 4 times, and then I'll stop reeling it and I'll let it hit the bottom. When my line goes slack, start reeling it again. So I'm always trying to keep it a couple inches off the bottom. And second type of structure or any type of main lake or secondary points, especially your flatter points. It's the same deal with that. You just fan cast around those point ends and sides, let it go to the bottom, crawl it slowly along the bottom back. Now, the best water visibilities on this, it's got a pretty decent range of water visibilities it works in. I have caught quite a few fish in it, anywhere between 2 foot of visibility and greater. 2 to 10 foot of visibility is ideal. To me, the perfect scenario for a scrounger would be that 3 to 4 foot clarity would be absolutely perfect, but I have caught them down to 2 feet and as clean up to 10 foot of visibility with that. When I'm talking primarily about the smaller ones right here. But the bite on it is usually real soft. It's like when you're reeling it like that, most of the time you don't feel anything. It just like gets heavy, and then the fish have it, they just suck it in there. But guys, as far as getting you a limit of fish, this little 1/8 ounce or a 3/16 will get you a limit of fish. Now, those 2 are good during the cooler water months. The big ones do not work very good in the cooler water months, but the big ones are really good in the summertime. So if you guys fish any ledge lakes like the TVA lakes, or if you fish any deep structure, main lake points, deeper brush piles, something like that, try going, get you some 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce heads, and put, something like a 6-inch swim bait on it. Just a bigger, like to resemble a larger gizzard shad. And it's the same deal with that, guys. You just throw it out there on those ledges and just crawl it back along the bottom. But you don't hear much about it anymore. This will catch suspended fish. I've caught suspended fish on it, but guys, I've caught a lot more on it just crawling this thing close to the bottom. Really, really good bait, especially after a front comes through. If it's probably, in fact, I can probably say this is probably the #1 bait that I've ever had the most success on in super tough fishing conditions. After that front rolls through, you got bluebird skies out, wind or no wind, tough fishing conditions, the scrounger will catch them about better than anything out there. If you got lots of fishing pressure, the fish are spooky and skittish, really, really good way to catch them on there. So anyway, pick you up some. Like I said, I'll link it in the description of the video, all the stuff you can get you lined up for scrounger fishing there. And hope you guys catch a few on it. So we'll talk later.